Hey, what's going on, everybody? James is having some more technical difficulties over his end. Looks like a blown USB output on his laptop, so we chose to go with his wonderful dead me picture over here again. But that's okay. We still got his voice, so he'll be chatting up with us as we dissect the second episode of season 4 for Fear the Walking Dead. But before we jump into that, per the usual, a few announcements. We're currently still raising money for our current level 2 charity, the Humane Society. So if you guys can donate, there are links down below on our Twitch and YouTube channel. If you guys can donate, we understand that. But what you can do to help us out and help out the Humane Society is just to like, subscribe, and follow us on all the social medias. We're over on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and especially check us out on YouTube if you aren't already watching these videos on YouTube. If you guys enjoy the videos, give us a like and subscribe so that way we can boost up our metrics and more people watch our videos. The more ad revenue we can raise, the more ad revenue we raise, more money we can donate to our current charity, because 100% of all ad revenue we get from these videos and our website over at echo5studios.com goes towards our charity. But a little tidbit about that is we can't actually raise ad revenue from YouTube until we hit a certain amount of total views and subscribers. So tell your friends, spread the word, watch our videos, and boost us up there. So once again, we use that money and passively donate all of that to our current charity, which is the Humane Society. Other than that, James, what's going on besides for a busted laptop?
Yeah, I gotta throw this piece of shit away. Well, yeah, pardon my French, but it's just whatever. As long as we're here for 5 straight weeks, 5 in a row. That's all that matters. I'm here. Just you get to look at my pleasant Walker face, I guess. But the silver lining is, again, staying alive for 5. 5 in a row. We're in a row here.
Yeah.
And feel like that Queen song, "Don't Stop Me Now."
It's true. Got to pick up the slack over here. We kind of slacked off. We kind of hit a lull, kind of like The Walking Dead hit a lull there. But
Yeah, we
we're
did.
picking up just in time, right?
Yes, definitely. So we're here, and we're here for you guys, and we're gonna dissect fear. And this was something that was requested by a couple of viewers, is if we could do fear, and we decided to do it. I mean, we were gonna do it anyways, but it's good that we can bring you something that you requested of us. And we enjoy it. And we're enjoying season 4. We'll get into this episode, but got a ton of questions. We have predictions. We'll get into that later. Don't want to forget these questions. But opening up with another day in the diamond.
Yeah.
Jason.
So, did it live up to your expectations? I know we had high expectations coming off of their season premiere. Do you think it met them? Not quite, or do you think it even went over and above?
I don't think it can go over and above because you have Lenny again. I'm a big Lenny James fan. But whenever you have Lenny James in any episode, it kind of sets the bar kind of high. They followed up with the Glenn death in season 6 with the Morgan exclusive episode. So you had probably at that point the strongest episode of season 6, and it was just topped by a bottle episode with Morgan and Eason. So that just shows you how strong the actor is, and the character itself of Morgan. So when you have What's Your Story, and it's so good, and it kind of gives you like the premise of the season. Another Day in a Diamond, I like this one. It was a good follow-up. It was a good kind of change of pace, but it also introduced us to the next big bad, which is kind of creative. And this whole season itself is very creative. So they're giving you life after the explosion at the dam. And, you kind of getting a little bit of flashbacks, from Nick, and showing you what happened after, kind of giving you hints of what happened when he blew up the dam. And, Strand is saying that he's thankful that Madison, gave him another chance. And, they find a new lady and Naomi, and then they find a new group, the Vultures. And I like this enemy because they're not your typical bad guys. They're literally just vultures. They had the little girl spy. They sent her in. They found out that the community has what they want in terms of supplies.
Yep.
And hey, we know you have a weevil problem, and we know that your crops are slowly dying, so we're just gonna wait you out. And when you send out scouts, we might just raid you, but we really don't need to. We'll just let you die out, let you starve out. And you want to join us, you can, but if not, we'll end up taking your stuff anyways. And it's just like, that's so creative that they're not even, even the guy, he went to go shake Madison's hand and said to her, hey, look, let's be friends. And she basically turned, but he's such a, he's almost a charming type of bad guy that he's not even provoking violence. It's just, hey. And we also found out what the numbers meant, and obviously it's the amount of walkers they put into a container. And it's just a creative group, and they seem just very eerie and like vulture-like. Obviously their names are the Vultures, so I really like that. I really like that they're giving us this flashback, and then they bring it back to the present day. I think that that's very creative. I think that that's something that The Walking Dead touched upon a couple times here and there, but this show seems to take that, and they're going to make a whole season out of it, or at least a half a season. So very good follow-up, man. I was pleasantly surprised to see that they didn't let us down in this episode.
Yeah, I can't even. It's hard to call them even bad guys. They're like true neutral. They're just like, hey, if you want to give up, that's fine. Join us. Give your stuff. We're not going to kill you, but we're not going to, necessarily help you survive unless you join us, which is fine. Go for it. That's cool, man. It's like so nonchalant about it.
Correct.
It's like, whatever. It's all cool. We're not going to shoot you or anything, but if you want to give us your stuff now, we'll take it. Otherwise, we'll wait till you die and don't take it then.
Yeah. Hey.
I think showing up at night with their lights off was kind of creepy. That's probably sending the wrong message.
Yeah.
They probably could have waited till the morning, I guess, and then showed up. Man, that little girl though, like I knew something was up as soon as she started asking like two perfect questions, like to Nick.
Yes.
I forgot like what she asked like in particular, but like he said basically like, oh, you don't have to worry about that anymore. And it's like, why? How does she know about that? That's weird.
Exactly. And I also like the Vultures, how they still stayed around in their lawn chairs.
Yeah. Like we're gonna go back to our own place. Like, nah, I'm just gonna camp out here. We're waiting. It's like Jesus.
What kind of an asshole move is that? Like that would. Can you imagine Rick Grimes with that kind of group?
He couldn't take it. He'd be like, "Are you serious?"
Yeah, he'd go out, shoot him, and cause a war right then and there. But this is not Madison Clark and her group. They're survival. They're survivors, and they're vicious in their own way. But they're not Rick Grimes. They don't have that moxie to them yet. But Rick didn't have that moxie to him until about season 3 either. So it's like,
what is crazy though.
She is nuts.
God damn.
She really is. So I think she has Rick beat on craziness, naturally crazy.
Yeah.
Where Rick came crazy. I think Madison was always kind of touched, as my uncle would say, with people that didn't have it all there. You say you were touched, and I think that she's really, she's unlike Rick. She's already been off that deep end where Rick had to jump off the deep end due to the world. I think Madison knows what it's like, and
she really jumped into a pile of shit to save a stranger.
Yeah. And that was very unique. I like that too. There wasn't a lot to not like about this episode. I think if anything, if I were to say something that I didn't like about this episode, I think it's the stupidity of Madison to jump after that survivor. You got kids, and you have a colony, and this lady just held you to gunpoint, and she falls into to a big pool of shit, and you go jumping in there after her. You don't know what's in there,
Yeah.
and you can't make risk like that. That's very stupid. But she's still rough around the edges as a complete survivor, I guess. But that was my only qualm, was why would you go and save a person? You don't know if that person's dead. You don't know if that person is a trap. You don't know what's in that that tanker. You don't know any of this stuff. Your whole mission was to go out and scavenge and find this little girl's place. And that's another thing. What are you doing? Jesus Christ. So maybe Madison's, Andrea-like stupidity in this episode kind of rubbed me, if you had a nitpick. But other than that, this is an awesome episode, man.
Yeah. It's just funny to see how the characters are. I'm not worried, but I don't know what's the correct word for it, but just a little hesitant with like all the time jumping. I hope, because Walking Dead did it horribly in the first episode. But so far they've been nailing it, because we kind of know where they were, where they are, and where they're going.
Yeah.
Where the Walking Dead, it was like, well, here they are, and here's maybe 2 random futures. You have no idea what's real or not. So
Yep.
I'm a little more grounded, and I can understand what's going on a little bit better. But and it's been clear so far as like what was the past. So hopefully they make sure it continues to be obvious in that nature. Otherwise, I don't want to be questioning like, oh, what's going on. But I'm more about Madison, because she wasn't with the group at the end, and her carelessness, like you just mentioned, jumping on in there. Does she do something like that again and gets her killed or gets her in trouble?
Yeah, and it's funny, like you said, she wasn't with the group. You have to kind of like wonder if she was either captured, injured, killed. Is this the end of Madison Clark? Are they showing you what led up to her demise or her capture or her disappearance in some way? But she's obviously conspicuous by her absence, as she's not with Strand, Luciana, Alicia, and Nick, as they captured or they held Morgan, Athelia, and John for hostage. So you have that question, and I think that's why they're trying to show you these flashbacks. Is probably trying to give you a little bit of the story, how you catch up the Fear of the Walking Dead to the Walking Dead actually. And obviously they had to take a lot of time to build this baseball diamond on this stadium. So I would think that they couldn't have done that in a couple of months. I think this might have been a year or so process, and that makes a lot of sense how they're catching up to the Walking Dead, and kind of ties it into what Rick and the group did with the prison. So I like the little tie-ins there. It's just a lot of little things to like about this, and a lot less little things to hate about it. So it's just like that's very refreshing. Again, I used that word last week or last Wednesday. It's refreshing to have episodes like this that build upon each other. So, I think, we go through, our favorite, characters at the end of the season. But so far, looking at this year, I still have to say that Morgan is the favorite. Even his little bit of time on this show, he still, to me, is going to be the star of Fear the Walking Dead. And even his group is stronger than, is more likable than Madison's group, even though we know the characters, which makes it even better, because now you're introducing, a more likable group to your existing stars, and that makes it even better. We talked about that before. And it's like giving another superstar player to roll off of. So it's like, wow, I mean, how can you make it better than better? And they're just going to keep building on this, and I can't wait to see what episode 3 holds, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and we kind of predicted they would. I mean, they had to go back and see like how they actually got here, but we still aren't sure. Obviously, there's some sort of conflict with the vultures. They don't become friends. We can kind of piece that together. And there's something about those flags that you mentioned there. There's the numbers written on them for the amount of walkers contained in there. So I think it was 12, and now the other one they found was 51. So there are 51 walkers in that one.
And one was 457, man.
Jeez, that's huge. Don't
Yeah.
get that guy, huh?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's funny because as much as we feel like Madison's group is like they get it, they're awesome survivors. These guys are like, nah, you guys don't know shit.
Yeah.
You're all gonna
Exactly.
die. It's like trust us. We've seen this before. We know how to do it. And this guy just rides around a bike and a little music box, and it's like no big deal.
Yeah, and they're nonchalant about it. It's
Yeah.
so fluid with how they're disposing, not even disposing of the walkers, how they're utilizing the walkers, and how they're basically showing you what they're doing, and they're telling you what they're going to do, and they're telling you what's going to happen to you. Just like Jay said, that is a scary villain to come and say, "Hey, look, man, it doesn't matter what you do. We've seen it before."
Yeah. And did you think for a second, like, wait a second, are these the wolves?
I thought, I thought that when he, not the wolves, I'm gonna take it a step further. The way he was talking to Madison, I thought he was part of the Saviors in a weird way.
Yeah.
Like, I can see the wolves now that you said it, but the way he was talking to Madison, like, give me your stuff, and I thought about the Saviors, but then when they sat back and said, we don't have to even kill you guys, that's not the Savior. So I'm like, wow, this is just a combination of a lot of groups, like the Terminites.
Yeah.
You can become one of us, or we could just starve you out.
Yep.
The wolves, like you said, where they take, and even the Saviors. I mean, it was like a combination of all three ultra, like a super villain, and then two of the little subsidiary villains in the Walking Dead. But what a great idea for a villain! And how are you going to defeat this villain? You know what I'm saying? And they have your inventory. They know they had a spy inside. They know your ins and outs. So it's like,
Yeah, that's so
that's
shady. I
so
can't
cool.
believe that.
Yeah.
Uh,
So we'll
he's
see,
pretty
man. I'm
good.
I'm really excited to see what transpires with that child. Charlie. I want to see what transpires with her. I want to see what transpires with Naomi. I want to see if Strand finds a boyfriend, if that guy is who he says he is, and if Strand's gonna let his guard down and fall in love, I guess.
Yeah.
And I like the way The Walking Dead pushes the envelope and says, "Hey, look, we don't discriminate against anybody." And they have openly gay relationships, mixed couple relationships. They have a lot of things that you know that's what you should see in modern TV because that's the world that we live in now. So it's like they like to show that they have pride in doing what they do, and they never try to offend anybody, and they try to incorporate every group and every scenario possible. So it's, again, keyword for this whole season is going to be refreshing. It's refreshing to see something like that as well. So
Yeah. And it's just because how it should be now, based with we're all survivors, in the apocalypse, and
yep.
we're all just humans, and
Yep.
why would we ever discriminate against that? I think somebody said, I think in the season one, there's like there's no like us and them. It's just like white meat and dark meat.
Yeah, he
Where
said it's a Merle Dixon on the roof.
yeah,
He said there's no M words anymore. It's
yeah,
just, it's us and the dead. It's dark meat and there's white meat. And then even, I think they touched upon the racism with Otto and and Troy,
mm-hmm.
and they touched upon that where they didn't like brown skinned people.
Yeah,
And they had the conflict between the Native Americans, and you see what happened there. You can't be like that in a world like this, because at the end of the day, it's really the living versus the dead. And I think they're trying to explain to people, like, at the end of the day, we're all human beings, we're all alive. And you can really take that from the show, and you can see that. You got Nick with Luciana. Again, you got Strand, and he's with men. So he's homosexual, and he's African American, and he's dating Latinos, and he's dating white men, and so it's like
mm-hmm.
they're having mixed relationships, open relationships, homosexual relationships, heterosexual relationships. Just like Jay said, everybody's human at this point. Everybody's alive, and that's the commonality. So, great job by them to do that. I like seeing stuff like that, because it just shows that, hey, what the fuck? What are you're gonna really be a fucking bigot asshole and
Yeah.
zombie apocalypse, like, for real?
It's like now, yeah, yeah. I was about to save you, but
So you're a Noxie, and your fellow Noxie gets bitten and turns into a walker. You think that he's gonna go after the black guy or over?
yeah, right.
The fuck is wrong with you? You don't have time for that shit in the zombie apocalypse, and that's exactly the message that they're showing. And when people do make that their goals, like Merle Dixon, you end up failing, and you end up, the majority of humans are looking at you like, are you seriously still stuck in this prehistoric, archaic mind frame? Like, for real? People are just getting destroyed left and right, and we're still worried about that kind of shit.
Right.
So, so that's a good part of the show. Like I said, this show is so awesome at this point. I think season 3 really turned it around for me, and now I just really think that season 4 is going to take it to the next level. Even the numbers, we talked about that before the show started. Like the Walking Dead finale was just under 8 million viewers, so it jumped up from 6.6 to 7.9. But Fear the Walking Dead all-time high is 4.09 now. And most viewers watching the show, and that's significant because if it continues to go up, even 2 or 3 million, they're in the same par as The Walking Dead, and 2 million isn't a lot. Walking Dead jumped up 1.3 million in one show, so Fear the Walking Dead can, kind of like gain 500,000 viewers per show. 16 shows.
Yeah, especially with Morgan over there. All of a sudden, you have the Walking Dead fans like, I want to see what's going on with him.
Thank you. So not even 500,000. Let's just say they jump up, 250,000 each show. That's 4 more million viewers. That is, in 16 shows. That puts them at 8 million per show. And guess what? That's Walking Dead territory.
Yeah.
But awesome episode. Tons of questions. I'm gonna actually read them to Jay because he usually gets to read them, have all the fun. Predictions. We talked about it before. Jay mentioned it. Conspicuous by her absence was Madison. Our predictions about Madison Clark. Is she a goner, Jay?
No, I don't think they could kill off the main character. I mean, that's Rick Grimes. To
Okay.
The Walking Dead. I know they're doing a quote unquote reboot. But no, I don't think they kill her off now.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna say the opposite. I think Madison Clark is I think that either she's going to die or come very close. So actually, I'm not going to say the opposite. I'm going to I'm going to say there's something definitely not right with her not being part of the 4. Either she's captured, she's injured, or she's dead. It's nothing good. And I think that's the flashback that's going to show us. So I do think something very bad has happened to her.
I'm not surprised if she's captured by the vultures.
Yes.
And that's why they're so desperate to figure out where they're from.
Okay. Another question for Jay. Okay. What would be an Oceanside moment for you in this show thus far? All seasons.
Oh, all seasons?
Well,
the military.
Wow.
They messed them up, man. They didn't have any kind of occurrence of like there was no one there on set that said, "Hey, that's not what a uniform looks like. This is not what this guy's way too old for this rank. They're way out of regs." Then I don't know, like not every single military person you met was an asshole.
Yeah.
I was just like, what are they doing? I think I kind of get what they're trying to do, but that just felt almost insulting. Flat and insulting. I mean, what's his name getting shot in the helicopter too? That was a
Travis. Yeah.
Travis getting shot. That was what? That was like a Carl. Not even Carl. Like a Beth moment. It's like, really?
Yeah.
That's
you just had him fight 30 walkers,
yeah,
bare knuckled, and that's how you let him go out. That's kind of shitty. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, other than that, it's like season 2.5. Like everything's been really doing pretty well.
Oh, you heard it here first. You see, this is improv too. I really thought he was going to say the boat. So for
Oh yeah,
me,
the boat. Oh, I said
yeah,
after 2.5. I forgot about the boat. Hey, don't
for
blame me
me,
for just erasing that from my mind.
for me, it was definitely the boat. Um, Second, if I had the Jocelyn moments are Jay's Oceanside moments. So it's usually Jay will have the. This is why we named it after Jay. You know, if anybody ever you ever hear Jocelyn in any of these shows on YouTube or anything else, they owe us money because that's something that well, this is an exclusive. Okay, this is our exclusive product. Is Jocelyn. We should make shirts and have Jay's face on it with an angry face and say Jocelyn moment right underneath it. So
It's like a, like a, like huh? Like a confused look. Like what the? You're like, yeah, maybe just angry one like me shouting at something at the screen.
so my Jocelyn moment is the boat. That was a complete waste of a half of a season. So I don't think anything. I think the Oceanside episodes were bad. I think not only were the Oceanside episodes bad, you know, just to put them in there randomly. I think if you take a whole, almost a half of a season, and you put them on a boat and you have them fight pirates, and all of a sudden the pirates disappear and don't come back. You have families out in a lighthouse and walkers who teleport from the house to the dock in 2.6 seconds. Everything about the boat and the sea and zombies just don't mix. It's the stupidest thing ever. I think to waste multiple episodes consecutively was the biggest mistake of this show. The second thing that I absolutely think was a Jocelyn moment was how they did not utilize LA and how they showed LA on fire and a group of people were able to escape in a pickup truck unscathed. I just don't understand how you can get out of one of the biggest cities in the country filled with fire and walkers to the point where a walker is looking into your barbershop and your barbershop is melting because it's being burnt from the outside. You get out of there with one person injured because a fucking light fell on them. It doesn't. I think that's why we hated the show so much in the beginning. But those are my Jocelyn moments, and I don't think that you can find any Jocelyn moments other than maybe the Travis death. The Travis death after, you know, in season 3, it was a pretty complete season. So, you know, that's just to answer those questions. That was a really good question.
I think they really dropped the ball or missed an opportunity there, like the first season where they did that time jump, and I was like, no, there's so much we want to see.
Correct.
Wow, everything falls apart. We know, like, okay, it's survival or humanity, you know, choose your side, but like as everything's falling, there's so many different conflicts you can do in there. You know, when is it okay to start raiding? You know, when do you flee? You know, these or not concentration camps, but like these camps. You know, these health camps. You know, what happens when like you think you're safe and all of a sudden one person gets bit or someone starts coughing next to you? Do you report them? You know, or do you kill them? You know, and it's like all these different things. Like all of a sudden food's going thin. You're not survival mode yet. What do you do? Like, do you take your neighbor's food when they're not looking? You know, do you eat your dog? You know, like how far do you go before you know that you need to go that far? And I wanted to see that more of. And if they ever do like another Walking Dead season like this, I want to see that for 4 seasons.
Correct. And yeah, I couldn't agree more. You know, I think another drop moment from season 1 was when you know, Madison Madison ran into that high school. I can't even think of Tobias. Tobias basically calls he basically tells Madison, this isn't right. This is an extinction level event. You better prepare. He's seen her again. He told her the same thing. You know, and then they dropped the ball with that. I think that was a strong character that they could have either killed off. Madison watched him die, and I think they hinted on it by, you know, I think he was the one that was flashing the light where, you know, I think he was flashing the light, and I can't even think, Chris
Mm-hmm.
Chris saw him flashing, the piece of glass and reflecting it off the sun. I think the military went in and killed him. But again, Jay made a good point. That's not what the military would do. Military is just not going to go around just killing people. Civilians still. So, I think that they dropped the ball a lot, but I think that they're picking it back up. And, I know we have a long diatribe about this, but, this is just, answering your question. I think that we do have Jocelyn moments in this show, and I think that all occurred prior to, I think they all occurred up until just after Travis's death.
Yeah, and even that was a missed opportunity, not
Missed
like
opportunity,
yeah,
not
it was like,
with
oh, you
Jocelyn.
guys had it, it's right there, hook,
Right.
line, and sinker, and you missed it. Oh.
Yep, correct. I agree.
Like he should have like gotten the helicopter, flown up there, and then revealed like a giant like bite wound with his guts hanging out, and being like,
Yes.
"I'm gonna die,"
Yes.
Love you guys, and then jump out.
Correct. I agree.
Like, and
keep
then
going.
then have the helicopter get shot down or something after the fact. It's whatever.
Yeah, I agree with that too. So, great question. Got another question for today.
All right.
Another.
No
Speaking of this, I kind of touched upon it. I kind of led into it with the Jocelyn T-shirts. Have you ever thought about doing merchandising for Echo 5 Studios using such terms? I'm going to just go out there and put it out there like Jocelyn moments or zombie movie of the week. This person says, have you ever thought about merchandising for echo5studios.com?
So yes. It's more about demand, unless if I could find something, because we can't really have stock, here,
Okay.
and then have to worry about shipping out. If there's some sort of service out there, I did think of looking up as far as like ready to order. You know what I mean? Like the design's already ready, but you just it's basically like a link to another website, and then you order from there, and then we'll get kickback as far as money.
Okay.
At the same time, we're not really doing this for a profit.
Yes,
So
there you
we want to make sure that we're transparent and that those proceeds will then go towards charity. But we don't want you guys to think otherwise. But yeah, we definitely thought about it. If not, for everybody else out there, at least for ourselves, like when we go to Walker Stalker, we could throw something on and try to get a little recognition for that. Business cards, little stuff like that, just to spread the word more. That's pretty much why we would do it, is spread the word. And like I said, it's raise money for charities. That's the ultimate goal for us.
That's a very good question. And then we'll have one final question. All right. So, as we see Nick with his flashbacks, what are your prediction of what happened after the moment he detonated the bombs on the bridge? So basically, what are our predictions?
So, I would say like it's tough because Kelsey and I were talking about this, and he was the most comfortable person out there with the dead. He felt like he belonged out there. To now be on the flip side, to where he's that's the complete opposite, literally. And he's like, no, I don't want to be with them at all. That's tough. I think he might have thought he killed everybody. I think he did go almost like Michonne mode, where he started to walk around them and become one of them again. I think he might have like lost himself out there until Madison found him. But yeah, I think he just got too close to that.
So it's funny that you guys talked about it. So I talked about it with a coworker, and they asked me, this is a coworker's question. So I broke it down as follows. So he detonated a bridge. He thought that he was going to commit suicide. So obviously, when he did this, he didn't realize that Madison. I think he thought Madison, Alicia, and Strand were far enough away. So when he detonated, I think he had second thoughts about it. He's seen that his sister and his mother were going to get sucked in to the bridge. He's seen the destruction that it caused. He had a near-death experience. He also almost killed his mom, who I think may have saved him. Now the trauma, he's got like PTSD now. And like Jay said, he kind of tried to walk around, the walkers. He tried to go out there, and he just wasn't able to do it. I think that he was so close to death, and he didn't cross that threshold, and it made him kind of appreciate his life a little bit. And he's looking at the walkers and saying, shit, man, I've been playing around with drugs, playing around with these fucking walkers, that I haven't realized that, I've been threatening to commit suicide. I'm blowing up dams. I really want to stay alive. I want to live. And I think that all those moments combined really was a smack in his face. And now he's realizing, hey, man, this world fucking sucks, man. I can't go out there. I don't want to die, because he hasn't had that fear of death until then. So now he's traumatized from it. So I think he finally is accepting that he wants to be alive, where all the other times, being a drug addict, walking with the zombies, trying to detonate a bridge, being friends with Troy, he was on the other side of danger, and he wasn't realizing that one slight move and that's it. I think he escaped death and said, I don't want to keep doing this. This shit's crazy. So, it's PTSD, and obviously something's going to have to put him back on the other side of danger, because you can't be that, what is the word I'm looking for? You can't be that passive in this type of a world. You can't be that, gun shy in this type of world. You kind of have to be aggressive, to survive. So we'll see.
Yeah, I love his character, and it reminds me of a question from one of the fans we got an email there. One of the question was, we know James' favorite Walking Dead character is Lenny James, of course.
Yeah.
Morgan. What about me? What about Jay? Who does Jay like the most? Question mark, and then somebody from Oceanside. Of course, Oceanside. No, if I was to say my favorite character from The Walking Dead is Tyrese, but my favorite character overall, it's got to be Nick. I love Frank Delane plays his character so well. I mean, without him in the first season, I don't think I would have kept watching.
Thank God for England. Jesus Christ.
Right? Yeah, right? That support everybody. I wonder if we export a lot of American actors over there. But it's, I think he plays this dynamic, strange character, and I think he nails that drug addict character, and it kind of encompasses this awkward, not teenager, but, young 20s person, and, really like his acting ability, and it really pulls me into the scenes with him.
Good. Yeah, that's a good answer.
And a curveball is for The Walking Dead. Go figure.
Yeah, that's he's been throwing curveballs all night. I thought he was going to say the boat for Jocelyn, and now he's bringing up Nick as his favorite character. Did we have any other questions that we missed from that list that I gave you?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
But of course, I gotta give a shout out to Tyrese. I love that character on The Walking Dead. I love him in the comic books, and what was that actor's name that played him?
Chad Coleman.
Chad Coleman. I love that guy. He's in so many good sci-fi shows and everything. Brought that character to life for me.
Good.
All right, what else do we got? There's a good one. Are you guys really the way you are on camera? In other words, James, are you always hyper, super talker? Jay, are you calm and militant?
Well, if you give Jay enough Sam Adams, he's not as calm.
If you watch the D&D podcast where we've been drinking all day, towards the end of them, you can see that I'm pretty talkative.
Jay is like, if you wanted to emulate somebody, you emulate Jay, because he's collected. Me, I'm passionate and I'm hyper, but that's because I think I'm like that in general. So yes, I am like that, but you have to break me out of my shell. It takes a while, but once you break me out of my shell, that you get the hyperness and the passionate person that I am. It's even more exaggerated because this is our show, and I'm proud of the show, but it's also about zombies. This is something that I don't think a lot of people realize. I'm 35, so I've been watching zombie films since I was 3. That's almost as long as Jay's been alive in general. You know?
Okay.
So you literally have to think about the significance of that staggering figure and understand why I'm hyper and passionate about it. So yes, I am hyper in real life. Other than that, like especially if you get to know me and you know, I open up, I'm really hyper. There's times that I'm quiet. I'm also a quiet person, but I'm hyper, man, and I think that's that's how we play off of each other so well, because you can't. I think you have two hyper talkative people, it would just be a fucking mess.
Yeah.
But he's really a good, he's like, he's just such a great balance, especially for the show, is to have somebody who's cool and calm and can have their words in the perfect place that they want to put them, and then have somebody who's so random like me. It's perfect. It's like a perfect wingman. So
yeah,
it's like
good chemistry.
Good chemistry. Over here. So I think that if we both were stoic and kind of like calm and what, you kind of have to have the opposite. You kind of have to have the play off, because when he says something that's off the chart, it hits you. He knows how to hit you perfect. And then like, then he has me as like the hype man, and we are like that. So in real life, when we get together, he hasn't started drinking yet. He's pretty laid back. When he starts drinking, he starts opening up, and you get to, he'll maybe start dancing a little bit or doing something fucking funny. But
I got some good moves. Okay.
So yes, we are like that in real life.
A couple other questions. We kind of talked about this already. What's the idea behind the website, the mission? 100% raise money for charity. What I wanted to do, I was thinking about creating some sort of online presence for a while here. But I just never had like a focus. And then, something happened in my life where, it gave me a reason to raise money. So I wanted to bring in things that I love doing. Talk about like The Walking Dead with James. I was like, hey man, let's just talk about this stuff like we normally do, but let's put it online and let's see if we can't raise money all at the same time. It's like 2 for 1.
Mm-hmm.
D&D. Hey, let's play a game. I'll set up some cameras, some lights, let's record it and chat with some people online. All right, cool. So I'm gonna play some video games. Might as well stream it and see if we can't get some ad revenue. Even if it's just pennies, those pennies are gonna go towards a charity. So that's our goal. Is let's do what we love. Let's hang out with people who enjoy it too. And let's raise some money for charity.
And like you said, man, when he gave me that opportunity, and he said, "Hey, look, I'm going to do a show," and he knows how much. First of all, that's we met before The Walking Dead, but we really connected because of The Walking Dead. We really got to know each other because of The Walking Dead, and when he came to me, I was like, of course, and I've been there. We've taken some weeks off, but again, we're not doing it for a paycheck. We're doing it for charity, and we're doing it for like 2 years now. So we have fun doing it, and like I said, we get to bring you our opinions. So as him letting me be a part of the website, you just take off with that. So and hopefully it gets bigger, and hopefully his website brings him not just the charity, actually can end up becoming a profit for him, because he works hard at it. And you want to see somebody who does so much and puts efforts towards charity and puts efforts towards making a site and getting people together to talk about things that they like to talk about. You hope that they get compensated for it eventually, because it's a lot of work and there's a lot of dedication behind it, and he's sacrificing that work and dedication to a great cause. So eventually you want to see somebody rewarded for that, so hopefully it continues, and hopefully it could be it could be very it could be a secondary source of income for him down the road if he chooses, or it can grow and he can continue just to put money toward more and more charities, whatever he decides to do. I personally feel that eventually he has to eventually somebody has to say, hey, look, here goes, here's to take the next step to go to the next level. But that's me, but I also totally understand if he continues to put the money towards charity and all his efforts towards charity. Like either way, I'm glad he's doing it. So glad to be part of it.
Yeah, it crossed my mind. I thought about, like, especially when starting the site, should we
Mhm.
do some sort of a GoFundMe or something like that? But
Yes.
a lot of times you need to create a product before you can try to convince people how good the product is going to be.
Yes.
And if it makes sense to reinvest, basically, if we ever do something like that, I'll make sure it's transparent, where it's like, hey, here's our, like, another GoFundMe page or Patreon page,
Yep.
and it'll be clear saying that this money goes towards our food or pizza or keeping the lights on, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll never take money from our charity drives or anything like that whatsoever.
Yes. And I totally agree. Like I said, you have just such a good, and this is to Jay. He's just such a good, focus and such a good mindset on this whole thing. It's just like you do want, I'm not saying pay his bills. I'm saying you want people to say, here's funding, you know, to make your product better, because I think that he, 100% would put it back into his product, and then he would have a stronger product down the road, and then he would be able to raise more money for more charities, because I think that that's the ultimate goal for him, and to be able to do that, that's special in itself.
Yeah, just starting all this up was an investment in myself, my friends, and you guys out there watching. I had confidence that we'd be able to create something that you guys like, and that you guys will respond, in a positive manner, letting us know, asking us questions, keeping us, involved with you guys, and donating when you can. So far so good, but let's keep the eye on the prize and keep going bigger.
There you go.
And considering our charity this month, or this second level here, the Humane Society, this is a question for both of us. How many total animals do we both currently have?
So I think Jay just got a third cat down the road somewhere. I think it just
Yeah, you can talk to Kelsey about that one.
I think that all of a sudden a third cat appeared in the house. I know they had two, so you have three, right?
Yeah, we have three now.
Okay, so yeah, he had two. He first got two when he was in Albany. What was their names at first? Brother and sister, something
Yeah,
like
so
that.
the two cats we had are brother and sisters. Kelsey named them Brother, but we call him Brother Bear now because he's kind of big.
Okay.
And then Baby Girl.
Okay.
And we picked up the third one over here. They're adopted, from not directly from the Humane Society, but a similar society, I guess shelter like that.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the third one, their family adopted them from a shelter as well. But they were moving away and they couldn't take the cat with them, so we took him in, and that's Mr. Goldfish. He pops on every once in a while. I think it was on camera a couple weeks ago. But he's a cutie, but goddamn, he could be an asshole.
So, all right. So Jay has three, and I have three animals. So we, at the time, my wife, when we were just dating, we had moved in with each other, and we just, she's such an animal lover. We just felt something was missing. So she went and got a guinea pig. So she got the guinea pig, and he was 8 months old at the time. Guinea pig's lifespans are between 6 and 8 years. Our guinea pig is 7, so he's still trucking. He's been through a whole lot, but he's still trucking. He's very fat, and happy. So we have a guinea pig, and then we have 2 rescue dogs, border collie mix and a cattle dog mix, Joey and Hank. So we have Max, the guinea pig, Joey, and Hank, the dogs. So we have 3. Jay has 3. Gives us a total of 6 animals between the 2 houses. 5 rescues, per se. So we really, so when we're doing the Humane Society as a, charity, again, this is something that we live, and, we have animals. We rescued them from shelters and homes, foster homes for animals or whatever. And, they've been part of our family. So we're not just telling you guys to donate to something that we don't, it's not close to us.
Yeah. That's like whenever we choose like a charity to support, it's always going to be something close to one of us over here at Echo 5 Studios. It's it's not something we throw like a dart at the dartboard or something like that. And
Yeah,
that one.
you definitely don't. $50.
We want to make sure it's positive, something that relates to us, and something that we can actually track online.
Yep.
We don't want to be the middleman. Like, we don't want your money and then
Nope.
trust us to donate it. No, we want to make sure there's a direct link and some way to track, our goals as far as reaching them. So that's something else we have to look out for.
So, and speaking of that, we have reached our minimal goal. I got $25 handed to me, so I have to make the donation. And when I get this camera up and running, I will comb out my hair, pick it out, and wear the pick in my hair, and you will see the afro. So we have another $25 from my friend Tim, just to make sure that we get to embarrass me online, I guess you could say. So, and then it was matched. So, so we'll have $50 worth of donation just for people to want me to embarrass myself online. Thank you very much. But obviously it goes to a good cause, so $50 will go directly. I will make the donation from my account. Jay will read it to kind of like confirm it, and the other person will donate online. They'll probably do it anonymous, but $50 will be donated. Just because people want to see me look like a fool, and just I'm happy because you know what, it's gonna go to a good cause. So $50 more to a good cause is worth it. Thank you so much for finally coming through with those two donations. We hope to maybe do some more fun things like that to put the money toward a good cause. But that worked out the way I wanted it to. So $50 just to make me look like an ass to go to good homes for animals is worth it. So
exactly.
There you have it. Next week.
We'll never shy away from making asses of ourselves to raise money for charity.
Unbelievable. I thought that I was in the clear. I'm like, yeah, I don't care. Nobody's saying. Oh,
there it is.
There you go. So yeah, there you go. So next week, or let me not say next week. As soon as I'm able to have a functioning, webcam again, which I should be able to use a different laptop next week. But as soon as I get a usable, visual webcam, I will stick to my end of the deal.
All right, we got to hold them to it though now, guys.
Yep.
All right, man. I think we had some questions there at the end. Thank you guys for all of those. Hopefully we discussed and dissected Fear the Walking Dead's episode 2 here well enough for you guys. And I think speak for James and Natalie, we're excited for episode 3. We get to see interaction with the two groups, minus Madison, obviously. So maybe we'll figure out where she is.
Yeah. Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. So tune in next Sunday for Fear the Walking Dead, and tune in Monday where maybe you'll see a picked out James Fro. It's not, probably in the week after that, but
it will happen.
Yeah, you gotta tune in to find out though.
I'm a man of my word, and Jay, we're gonna make sure. I'm gonna put it because I have the cash, but Jay will read off for Tim. He'll read off that it has been added. So he'll read it off. Won't just be me reading it off. Jay will read it off, and then the other person said that they will donate soon. And they gave their word. So we should have $50 worth of donations by the next show, and they will be read off with your interesting messages. I have to post the message that Tim wanted me to post, and it's kind of dumb, but whatever.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
I do what I gotta do, man.
Alright, thanks everybody for watching.
Yep.
And we'll see you guys next Monday when James and Jay dissects Fear the Walking Dead.
Have a good night, everybody.
See you, everybody.